Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to talk about the Bowflex elliptical machines and how to repair them if you've lost the ability to set the resistance. I'll get into actually taking this module out and installing a new one at the end of the video, but for those who are comfortable with that, I just want to address the parts, because this is out of a Bowflex Max Trainer M5. I think this is the same part in all the Bowflex Max Trainer ellipticals. If you go online and try and look this up, go to shop for a new part, and you just come through, and in my case I have the M5 I have the M5. You go to the parts list and you look for the Servo. In this picture, there it is, part 50. So if we scroll down here, 54, here it is. All right, add to cart, great, 50 bucks, a little pricey, but that's all well and good. But if you go to actually check out, you'll find that it is out of stock. And I believe this is the same for all the Bowflex machines. I think they all use the same part, or all the ellipticals anyway. So what I found in a post online was that there are some similar parts, and if we just come up here and do a search by part number and do 1000513753 for 17 bucks. There's no image available, but here's what you can get. Exact same body. What is different is the horn, or the servo arm, I should say, and this metal bracket. Well, take 2 minutes and swap those over. You're good to go. It has the same connection. It's wired the same. So you can actually get a spare part, even though they don't talk about it, just by swapping over. Now, there's another part that is also compatible. It's 1000512725. And this one costs 20 bucks. And if you look at that, this is what this part is. And just so you know, this is the current part number. The numbers that start with 1. The numbers that start with 8 are like an old part number. But anyway, you can see that this has the right servo arm, the right bracket. Has the right connector, but there's only 2 wires coming out of it. They just go straight to the motor. It has a potentiometer, but it's not wired up. So if you can get this one, which is currently available online, go back over to the website. I can add this one to the cart and look at my cart. You can see this is the part that you're supposed to get, not in stock. This one is in stock, so is the other part that I showed earlier. They're both in stock, and you can just go ahead and order them. I had this one on order for a couple months. It has never come back in. I hear people online, I don't hear them, I see them online complaining that they've been trying to get this. If you look on eBay, you can buy one for like 100 bucks. But all you need to do is, I would recommend getting this part and then just swapping over the arm and the metal bracket, and then you can just plug it in and you're good to go. What happens is you can see this one moves a lot right now. Hopefully this is in focus. This is moving a lot. If I look at this one here, I can't move it. We go ahead and perform the switch over real quick. Just pull this screw out. And you may have, gonna have to figure out what the right orientation of the horn is. I'm gonna use the same screw just to make sure, in case they're different. You know, I keep saying horn, but the servo arm, it will take a little trial and error to figure out what orientation to put this in when you reinstall it, but just for now, there's that. And again, I won't do it right now, but you just need to take these two screws out, and same here, and then switch the brackets over. But more interestingly, if we look inside, open this up, and you see they're all plastic gears. And while this is well lubed up, if I start to take these out, this one I go around. I don't know how well this is going to show up on the camera, but right here, this is all stripped. Oops. These teeth are all worn down. So this is why this one no longer works. And realistically, if I could find another gear, that would be all it would take to repair this. But this one goes on this way. Does not appear that that is available anywhere. So we're left with replacing the whole thing. All right. So now we're going to see what it takes, again, to swap over this part number, which is the one on the right, to work with the original one. And if you look inside, they are really the same. It's just that on this one, potentiometer is not hooked up. And rather than trying to strip all this stuff off or cut the wires and resolder everything, whatever, looking at it, I believe we can just directly swap the motor and the potentiometer over. And so let's try that real quick. First things first, let's free up the cable. And uncover the potentiometer. Let's try this again. Now, take out this other screw. We have that out. Do the same thing over here. Seems to mesh well. And there we go. So, just that easy. You got the new motor in, oh, the old motor, potentiometer in, but we didn't have to do any changes to the wiring. And the main gear here is compatible with the shaft on the old potentiometer, although they did look a little different, but it does work. So now, there we go. And now, this one should be ready to roll. So that's how you can get this one switched over. Just take the whole, assuming your motor is still good and it's just a stripped gear, you can just take the potentiometer, motor, switch them over to the new housing, and the way you'll be good to go, because for sure this all worked out of the old one. So that's that. Hope this helps someone, and good luck. Thank you. Okay, we're going to cover tearing down the Bowflex Max Trainer. This is the M7. Right now I can't set any resistance. I just get nothing when I change the resistance, and it feels like it's locked on a heavy resistance. Workouts I used to be able to do, I can't even come close to doing anymore. The resistance feels much higher. So Inside here, there is a servo that I believe has failed. And to get access to it, you know, take out 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, right down there. This one, if you remember when you put it together, it's covered up by this plastic. Just lift that up and pull it out. But anyway, take those 4 screws out, and then we'll pull the plastic away and get at the servo. Once you have the 3 screws out, it's just a matter of pulling it out from the bottom and dropping it down, because there's a tab on the top. And be careful when you take it off, because there's a wire that runs from the power plug into the unit. So just set it down next to it. Once you have the side cover off, you can see the servo unit, which is what we need to replace. There are 4 screws, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom. The bottom ones you can get at with a regular screwdriver. The top ones, it's a very short distance between the case and those 2 screws. So you're going to need to have a stubby screwdriver, or do like I'm going to do and use a wrench with a bit, a regular bit in it, to get in there. So to get this cable out of the way, you can just take this off and then loosen these nuts and the bottom nut, and then we can pull the whole cable out of the way. And then there's a electrical connector at the bottom. Let me get the phone and a stand, and we will get after all that. Okay, hopefully I can do this and you can still see. First thing I'll do is take the little screw out of the servo arm. And then you can just pivot and take the cable out. And then I already broke this loose. Just loosen that bottom nut all the way down. And now you can push it up and the cable will come out of that slot. And you can move this off to the side out of the way. And oops. Now there's a cable down here, and I'm not sure it's going to show up very well, but it's just the 2 prongs on or tabs on either side. Push those in and lift up. I'm going to need 2 hands. Now we can work on taking the 4 screws out. Now to put it back together, put the servo back in, we just reverse the process we did earlier. I would recommend getting a screw in the top back corner and lining that up first. Just get it finger tight, not even. Just want it hanging there so you can get the others in. Do the opposite corner on the bottom. Try and get it squared away. You know, I should mention the bracket goes up top, remember that. Okay, now you can hook up the wires, and I would make sure your machine's unplugged before you do it, just to be safe. I don't know how well it'll show up, but there's a little notch on one side that goes into the notch on the plug there. So just a matter of lining them up. Getting it snapped together, and when it comes to the cable, get it back inside there, and just line up the cable end that hole, and while you still have slack, put the cable through the bracket and feed the rod through, and then send that nut up, and then just sort of, you probably have to adjust this later, and we'll go over that, but just sort of find a spot where there's a little bit of tension. Actually, tell you, let's do this. Just leave it hanging. Well, I'm going to take this out and just show what happens when we start it up. All right, so there, it's just sitting in there for now. We'll adjust it to the right position in a minute. I'm going to plug in the machine. Let's see if it resets anything. Ding. All right, what I'm going to do is set the resistance level all the way up. I got to start a program. All right, I'm putting the resistance level all the way up. You can see it's moving. Now, with the resistance all the way up, the cable is where it'll be at its loosest. So what we can do is just put that cable back in the servo arm and find a spot where there's just a little bit of tension. Okay, so now I have it where it's just barely beginning to pull the right arm, and if need be, you can fine-tune the tension by, moving the top and bottom nuts up and down the shaft to add or remove tension on the cable. But I think this time I have it about right, so let me tighten up the servo again. There's servo arm. Let's see if this works better. Okay, so now we're all the way at minimum resistance, and you can maybe tell that the magnet's mostly off of the disc right now. Now as we go back to full resistance, the arm is being moved back on. So, and again, it's when you lower the resistance that the arm actually has to pull the cable and move that off. If there's no cable tension, you're going to be on max resistance, because that's where that spring down here is going to pull the arm back onto the disc. So anyway, now all that's left to do is to put the cover back on, and we're ready to work out. Alright, now we've got to put the cover back on. So, this tab, first off, kind of careful your wire. Can't really show it, but just make sure it's not getting caught on anything. And then run the tab up behind the silver plastic. And then work the protective mesh inside the cover. It just may take some wiggling around. And then time to put 3 screws in. So I'll do that real quick. Alright, getting this all to line up was a little bit of a hassle. I was trying to get the mesh to be the same distance away from the plastic as it is on the other side. Not sure it's really built that way. I ended up just kind of wiggling it until these came close together and the screw was close enough to thread into the other side. And just tighten them down. This part overlaps the other part. Do the same thing for the other side. Put that screw in under there. Yeah, make sure that screw, that one. Anyway, that screw way up in there. That one's the most critical to line up. You might want to just put that in a little bit first. Lift the cover up until you can see the screw hole, and then run it in a little bit, not tighten it down so you have a little slack to move these things around. And just remember that this one and the one on the bottom are like fine machine screw threads, and the 2 on the sides are coarse threads for plastic. So if you mix them up, that's where to do it. But at this point, I just got to plug it in, and it is good to go. If you have any questions, leave them for me in the comments, and I will get back to you. Otherwise, good luck on your repair, and keep at the exercising.